Hey, greetings to the world. I am still Cam, and this is still the Real Resilience Talk podcast. And we just here started out here in Japan. Very fortunate today to have on the show with us Miss Chandra, Coach Chan. Coach Chan, is it Coach Chan? Coach Chan?
Coach Shan.
Coach Chan. We got Coach Chan over here, and I'm Coach Cam, but this is an awesome, just unselfish servant to the community and constantly trying to improve others and teaching them all about T. I think there's an acronym for that. We'll get into, and we'll put one more acronym into your cargo pocket there for everybody out there. But hey, why are we here? Inspired by Dr. Maya Angelou's words: if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude, or essentially attack in a different direction. So that's what we're doing here. Trying to throw as much as we can at the bulkhead, at the wall, if you will, to see what sticks. And the main reason is to weed out any kind of ignorance when it comes to people seeking help or having been helped. We just never want ignorance to be the reason that somebody doesn't get the help they need. So we're trying to meet everybody at every platform we can to be able to spread the word that, hey, it is okay not to be okay, but it's not okay to ignore it for so long to where you make permanent decisions over temporary problems. That being said, this is not a babying or coddling type of conversation. Nobody wants to baby or coddle anybody, but we do want to get real and get honest about resilience. And what does that mean to us? I told y'all before, this is uncensored. You might hear some bad words. I hope you hear some good words too, but it's just going to be real and authentic, and I'm thankful to have this awesome Constitution defender and servant to the community next to me right now, Coach Chan, everybody. Yeah. So, how you feeling today?
I feel good. It's Happy Thursday, so thank you for having me on the show. I know I have a face for radio, so this is awesome. So thank you for having me.
You and me both, sister. You and me both. That's why this is not being recorded with video. Everybody gonna see me. I got crust in my eyes still.
Same.
Yeah, I definitely got a face for radio, that's for sure. My mother told me that a long time ago. I never got it until I got older. But no, hey, we here to talk about resilience. And what does that mean to you?
To me, I think resilience, it's important. So let's just start off by saying that word is very important, but I think it gets overutilized in certain situations to kind of make us feel like we can endure anything and everything without checking in with ourselves. So when I look at the word resilience, it's that bounce back. It's not a big come up. It's not the grand hoorah. It's that bounce back. When you break it down, resilience, you have that word. You hear that word zeal in there. So what does zeal mean? It's that fidelity, that ability to understand your situation, understand your surroundings, and then be able to make a better, more informed decision coming back from adversity.
Coming back from it. So I like, we talked about this many a times. In this exact location, talking about the Commandant's letter on mental wellness a few years ago. But he says that, and I love it that a senior leader admitted it, but he said that we never get over it. And he puts that in quotations, like get over it. And it's the truth. We don't ever get over it, whatever it may be, but we have to be able to withstand it, endure it, and keep moving forward. I told y'all before on this show, that's my definition of resilience. Good old Sylvester Stallone, Rocky 6 or 7 or whatever it was. When you're talking about ain't about how hard you hit, but how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. That's, to me, resilience. But to say that we're not going to endure or we're not going to be affected, that's misunderstood.
Absolutely.
Because we all hurt.
Yes. But you got to heal the hurt.
And how do we do that?
So you got to know yourself. So it's one of those things, I don't know what hurts you. You don't know what hurts me. So I have to realize in my own way, how am I feeling? I don't need to know what I need to do. I just need to know how I'm feeling. I just need to know that I don't feel happy right now. Kind of like, remember when you were like in elementary school and you had like the charts, like you come in, like, how are you feeling today? You know, little smiley face, little sad face, and then little kids write how they feeling. So you understand how you feel. So once you understand how you feel, you might not be able to articulate exactly what you need, but there's somebody somewhere that can help you along the way. I might not be the smartest person in the room, but I know, just like you said, a few smart people that can get you where you need to be.
I know some smart. Yeah. I can Google some smart people.
I'm about 2 inches short of stupid sometimes, but I can find somebody who can get you in the right direction.
Yes, so. Yes. No, that's very important, is to be that outlet for others. But again, to check in. But I love what you said about knowing yourself. We speak a lot about leadership principles and knowing yourself and seeking self-improvement. that is, I'm gonna tell everybody, it's 06:30 in the morning right now, and I'm still trying to figure out how to do exactly that. Knowing yourself, it's self-actualization and self-understanding. That's a lifetime journey. But Socrates, one of the smart people, not me, said the unexamined life is not worth living. So we have to examine it. We have to break it down and try to understand who are we, and that is a journey in itself right there. What are some ways that people can get to know themselves, or how is it that you've come to know yourself?
That's a great question, and I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna give it to you straight, no chasers. I think we try to, over glamorize what it is, how we feel, and it becomes emotional, becomes vulnerable. If I come to your office, or if you come to mine, and we're just shooting. I'm trying not to swear, so I'm trying to be a good human.
No, but it's uncensored. You can say whatever you want.
But I'm trying to be good. It's Thursday. Trying to get right with Jesus' plan.
Got it. It's getting close to the Sabbath, y'all. She does not want to swear. That's on the record.
So, you could ask somebody, "How you doing today?" Like, man, I'm fucking pissed today.
Yeah.
Or man, I'm super excited. Or man, I'm just not with it today.
Yeah.
You've already expressed how you feeling.
Okay.
So what are you doing about it? So at that point, the onus is on us. We've expressed that feeling. Man, I'm fucking pissed today.
Yeah.
All right, so what are you gonna do about it?
Yeah.
Are you gonna take care of what you're feeling right now, or just like how I was before I learned how to deal with my feelings was when I felt that pain of anger or sadness or hurt, I didn't heal that little girl inside of me when she was 7 years old. So as soon as
Please say that again. Please say that again.
I'm saying that for the people in the back. I'm telling you, I didn't heal that hurt from that little 7-year-old girl. So I went back to that moment. So I act like a child. So you have a lot of people who will act like children because they haven't healed what hurt them, and they'll continue to bleed on people that are trying to help them.
Oh, that's powerful right there. And for anybody out there who's like, oh, this is just too mushy-gushy, what is this, a Dr. Phillips? So, no, but we are saying to be in touch and to know yourself. But we say it all the time. Know yourself, seek self-improvement. We say all this shit. I want to know, because I'm not the smartest person, how the fuck do I do that? How do I know myself? I mean, obviously, the easy answer would be, it takes time. And I got that. That's time is always going to be the father, mother time, whatever you want to call it. Time will always be the winner. Got it. Undefeated. Got that part. But aside from time, so you say sit back, analyze, okay, I'm feeling like this. Acknowledge it. Admit it. Say, yeah. Because I've noticed in my time, or what I used to do is I felt like a puppy on the floor chasing my tail because I would say, oh man, I feel like shit. I shouldn't feel like shit. I'm being, again, no reference to gender or animals. No reference to gender or animals. I'm being a little bitch right now. I'm being a little bitch. Why am I being a little bitch? I ain't no little bitch. Why am I acting like a little bitch? And I go on this little chase my tail thing. And what do you think that leads?
So when we internalize and try to figure out our self-conflict or our self-strife, right? Like, and again, I'm not a clinician. I have a degree in psychology, but I'm not a clinician. It's just the journey that I've been through. So it's just like having an argument. Like when you argue with your spouse, you argue with your kids, or you argue with your friends. If it doesn't go anywhere, because we're just trying to make our point. When we're trying to rationalize, we're like, oh man, I'm just being a little fucking punk right now. We're trying to go in circles enough to where we tire our own brains out to where we're like, all right, cool. I am just being a punk. And we never get to a self-actualization point of how do we make this better? Instead of, hey, my philosophy, and it's worked for me, and I'm going to give a huge blessing and shout out to my grandmother. She told me if it bothers you after 24 hours, you better speak to it within 48 hours.
Ooh, say that again. Hold on, because I'm bad at math.
Oh,
that's math with 2 F's.
Yeah. If it bothers you after 24 hours, speak to it within 48.
Okay.
Because sometimes we have an emotional reaction to something that doesn't warrant our reaction. So if we get upset, I step away from the situation. Okay, I'm going to take 15 minutes and go away. Because most arguments or most emotions or most feelings are for a particular event. But once we remove ourselves from that event and clear our head, we feel a little bit better. Now we're able to rationalize a little bit what's going on. But when we stay in that moment and we see in red, or we're super sad, or we, as a young kid say, we in our bag, how do we get out of that? Because we don't. Because we want to be secluded, because even though it hurts and it's painful, it's holding us together. That's that emotion that comes and wraps us around like a hug. That's why we want to stay in that emotion. It's not that we want. It's not that it's comfortable. It's not that it's comfortable. It's because it's a familiar feeling.
And through the familiarity, you take it on and just accept it and just same old, same old.
Because we know how to deal with that. We know when we get angry. We know when we get sad.
Okay.
The hardest part is seeking assistance because we don't know what that looks like on the other side.
Yes, and I'm so glad you bring that up because that is exactly, that's the core of what we want to really get to here. Obviously, interview great people, give different perspectives, but you might not know the answer. I might not know the answer. But as you said, if it bothers you more than 24 hours, so I think we all know of situations like that, speak to it within 48 hours. Shout out to your grandma for that. That is awesome advice. So you might not know how to speak to it. Mm-hmm. Or you've never seen anybody in your childhood and your growing up speak to it. And again, everyone, we're not talking about coddling. We're not talking about putting on Nerf helmets for life. That's not what anybody's talking about. But how do we build the strength? How do we build the skills? How do we build ourselves to be able to deal with this shitty situation and to still be able to be the best us in that? Because I think oftentimes a lot of us are running at maybe a 70% or a 50%. And I get 70% solutions. We got to make a decision. That makes sense. But we're running at such a low output and our bandwidth is so tied up or our gas tank's just not full that we're not giving the best version of ourselves. Or what you said earlier, I loved it. And what do you mean by this? Can I just ask? Bleeding on others. What is that?
So that hurt, that pain's got to come out somewhere. So if you haven't healed what hurt you and you have those cuts on your arm or your leg and somebody's trying to come help you by taking care of that wound, if you have not done the proper self-aid before you get the buddy aid, you're going to bleed on them. And that bleeding metaphorically also means your energy is going to affect them. Mm. Because it's just like when you see a stray dog, like you're trying to help, that dog's going to bark, it's going to be scared because they're not sure what you're going to do to them.
So you got to heal the 7-year-old inside you and the stray dog inside you.
And the stray dog inside you. Because sometimes, some people when they go through it, because it's physical, emotional, spiritual. It's a drain.
Yeah. So but what if like you don't know me? You don't know my past. I didn't go to no fucking school that's got stickers and shit. And my 7-year-old, fuck that 7-year-old, because we're just still here and I'm just still trying to fucking make it. And you don't even understand what I'm going through. I'm fucking hurt, and you know what? I'm just still making it. Like, because there's those people out there. And I'll be honest, I say it like that because that's how I felt. I would sit in, like, let's say briefs, or I would sit and talk to people, and they go, hey, it's okay, everybody. It's okay. You can talk about your feelings. And I'd be like, man, shut the fuck up, right? That's literally how I felt. Like, this is the reason why we have the problems we have is because y'all talking about it so goddamn much. That was for real. So I'm trying to break through to that, to that person. And it kind of ultimately leads to like a victim mentality in itself. It sounds strong. It sounds like, oh, no, hell no, you don't know me. But you're also claiming a lot of victimhood in that. Am I making sense there?
You are. But at the same token, so this is where we gotta realize, and I was the same way. It's the consistency. Because if I bark at you, I'm like, man, fuck that dude. I ain't gonna help him. Because that's what I want. Because I don't want you to get close enough to hurt me. Because everything else has hurt me to that point that I've let in. I don't want you to get close to me. I don't know what your intention is. So automatically I go on the defensive, like, man, fuck you, dog. I don't want to deal with you. So as I keep doing that, because most people take that shit personal. 4 agreements. You remember the 4 agreements?
Yes, I do.
Don't take shit personal.
Ooh, that's one of the 4 right there. Don Miguel Ruiz.
You know what I'm saying?
Don't take things personal. Don't take anything personal.
Don't take anything personal.
And that's hard to do because we're humans.
Yes.
We're personable people, so we take shit personal.
Yes.
But if I am trying to help somebody or live in that moment of servitude or servant leadership, the way you react, your reaction is an action that I did not elicit. Your reaction is an action that I did not elicit. That is you projecting for protection.
So it's a survival skill.
Yeah.
It really is that what you're saying? It's so
100%.
And a lot of times, and we said this earlier about ignorance or going off of what we've seen, we talked about this last week on the episode where we talked about like in relationships and we had the awesome CJ on here and she was explaining kind of why to go to one love. But it's the same with ourselves in this sense of what I'm saying, folks. Just because this is what you are used to or just because this is what normal, that's a crazy word right there, man. What's normal anyway? But just because that's what normal looks like to you, that does not mean that it is right. Correct?
Absolutely.
And I think we get lost on that because we get stuck in, well, okay, survival skills, protection methods, but at the same time you close off yourself and you remain blissfully ignorant because you just don't know. And we don't know what we don't know. And that's a big thing that we want to drive home into this, is that be open-minded. I said it last week, and I'll say it again, and I'll say it till I die. Stop looking for perfection, folks. I think in the industries and in the professions that we're in, we're perfectionists, and we are seeking a fix to everything. Here's the thing. Once I changed my filter to where it was like, hey, is this going to mess anything up? Is this going to make it worse? Nah? Okay, I'll try it. That was when I started to improve in different areas, because it's not just one thing. Like, hey, just read 4 agreements and all will be well. Is that true? Or hey, if you Google Yoga with Adrienne, shout out to Yoga with Adrienne. She probably never will know who we are, but she is awesome in the service she provides on YouTube. But she breaks it down camp styles, like what I call it. But no, yoga won't fix all of my musculoskeletal issues, and yoga won't take away all of my chronic pain. That's just the trigger word, right? It won't take care of all of it, but will it make anything worse? And might it help? It might help a little bit. So why don't I try it? What say you to that? That kind of thinking.
I mean, that makes sense, because you only know the effect you have until you try. So if you actually sit and look at the possibilities, but that also means, what influence are you going to give somebody else for the greater good? Okay. If that makes sense.
Yes.
So that influence for the greater good is super fucking important, because we got to look at, well, I want to help. Because we have a lot of people that say, I want to help, but have no fucking clue how to help. They just want to help. So we have to rationalize in our minds, like, okay, I want to help. How can I effectively help, or keep at least the baseline to at least throw out that idea that we can't do this shit no more? Like, I can't run into some place and say, okay, guys, I want to change stuff because I don't like what's going on here. And then you think in your mind, because it can't be about us. That's where we fail a lot of times, because we make it about us. What we think is going to make this situation a little bit better, but it won't make it worse. We got to be able to read who needs what from us.
And how might we do that to understand what those, they may need?
So I'm gonna say this quote, and I love this quote because I had it from a leader as a young individual. Is listen with the intent to be influenced. Ooh. And that resonated with me so much, because you're not trying to change anybody's mind. You're just trying to listen with the intent to be influenced, because if you're trying to be influenced, you have that intent to digest the information, to absorb that information, and to utilize it in a way that makes it powerful.
Listen with the intent to be influenced by the person that you're actually speaking to. That's key. And I'll be honest, I'm so guilty of that, because you want to make other people better, and you think you know the way. I mean, what have I been doing this whole damn 17 minutes we've been talking? I've been trying to do that right there. But you're saying, instead of that, listen with the intent to be influenced by the person that you're actually talking to. Yeah. You might learn some shit. You might actually be influenced for better, but also you'll definitely be able to understand them better.
Because sometimes we want to respond automatically, like, oh man, I heard this before. I saw this on TLC one day about this or that, and then we want to interject instead of letting them project in that moment, because projection is fine in that moment. Let them tell what they're feeling, how they're doing. Listen to verbal cues, nonverbal cues, and it's almost like National Geographic, just letting that elephant be in its natural environment.
Shout out to the elephants of the world. Love elephants. Yes. Love them. Yes. Yeah.
You got to keep them around. Those tusks. Don't be taking my elephants because of the tusks, man.
Yeah, they are smart creatures. They are smart. And they got big ears, and they kind of heavy.
They are a little heavy.
But they are. If you read about them, you learn about them. Yep. It's actually funny you said elephants too, because there's a book. Here I go with the nerd, right? But in Colin Powell's book, It Worked For Me, he has a whole chapter on we're elephants. That we are elephants, and it's something. It's something. We're elephants. But we're gonna shout out 2 books right now today. We ain't getting no money for this, so we talked about 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, and we talked about It Worked For Me by Colin Powell. Now, these things will not enhance and improve every area of your life, but I don't know if looking at these books will make you worse. So maybe read it, look at it with the intent. So what'd you say?
To be influenced.
Okay. To be influenced. So I think another thing that's important in what you said, or what I gathered from it, is knowing each other. Absolutely. Getting to know each other, because we want these grandioso, the system to help us, and it's great, and the systems are there, but Man, what is your sphere of influence? Where are you at? I love what Mother Teresa said. She said, if you want to promote world peace, go home and love your family, right? And some of us don't have that, typical family that we want to describe out there, spouse, children, stuff like that. But your family is those you live with, those you work with, those you serve with, those you are around the most. That technically is your little tribe for them. So how can you impact them? But we're never going to get there if we don't take the time to get to know one another. And that doesn't mean for introverts out there, right? Because introverts need to know people too, and they want interaction. They might not want to be the star of the show or centerpiece or anything like that, and they might like to their them time. But people need people.
Absolutely.
Are we going to get stronger all isolated by ourselves?
No, absolutely not. And I will say that as a key introvert, I can go an entire year. It's one of those challenges you see on like Facebook. Like, can you survive on an island by yourself for $1 million? 1,000%. I can do that shit for the next 10 years, 100%. But it doesn't mean I don't need that human interaction. It doesn't mean that I don't want to hang out with my friends or kick it with people that I feel close with. But that connection piece needs to be understood. Because if you have somebody who's overpowering, overbearing, just a lot, that's going to probably push that person away. It's like, oh, well, what did I do? I don't understand why they're being like that.
Okay.
They don't want to hang out. No, did you take the time to listen to them and try to be influenced by what they're saying to be able to help them, bring them into the fold? Maybe they don't want to go out every Saturday night. Maybe they just want one Saturday night for 1 hour so they can charge up their social battery, then leave to go charge up their social and emotional battery on the side.
It's a key introvert because you said it, because that's what they say about introverts, that you could tell, I guess, one telltale sign. There's probably many, but if you go to an event or you go to a social situation and afterwards you feel drained and exhausted, you might just be an introvert.
Let me tell you, I'm the queen. I'm the queen of Irish accent.
Because you just she's the Irish accent. But if you come and you leave a social situation and you feel, what do the kids say, lit or litty, right? You feel turned up, if you will. That might be a sign that you are an extrovert naturally. Obviously, in the industry and in the profession that we're in, this thing makes you have to be an extrovert.
Yes.
And most professions do, because it deals with other people. But that is a telltale sign. So you're saying, and this is good because it sets up to talk about tea. We don't have any this morning. We don't have any tea. I got some coffee though. But with the tea, and you said recharge. So when you go to that type of social environment, or you go to that Saturday night out, everybody else, there are those among you that are like charged up forever, for the rest of the night probably, from just being around other humans. But then you're over here. Is your tea drained at all?
I love the setup. I love the plug. Thank you very much. So that tea, the tea that Cam's alluding to, right? So tea is time, energy, and attention. So what are you giving your time to? What are you giving your energy to? What are you giving your attention to? And I will say from the jump, like if I go to a party, my teacup by the time I leave is completely drained. Completely drained. Because social situations, if it's longer, and you can ask any of my friends, longer than 45 minutes, I'm in and out, and I count transportation time too. So if it takes me 20 minutes to get there, you only got me for 25.
Do you work in planning or anything like that?
But what's good about, again, the tribe or the circle that I associate myself with is I love those human beings. I really do. So when they go out, and I go out with them, they ensure, and they do a checkup. Hey, Dray, you good? Yeah, I'm still good. Well, let me know when you want to leave. We're going to stay, because I don't want to take away fun from them. Nor do I want them to be crowded by me being in the corner with 5 other nerds talking about, National Geographic and some other weird stuff when they want to go do their own thing.
And elephants.
Hashtag Dumbo. But at the same token, when I'm ready to go, when my tea is drained, I need to go fill my cup back up, because I can't pour what I don't got. So I'll go let them know, hey, I'm about to leave. So typically 1 or 2 of them will walk home with me. I get recharged by just having general conversation, not by drinking or doing whatever, like partying and all. That's not how I get charged.
So you get drained from the social situation, but in that conversation with that one individual, that genuine friend or someone you're connected to, you feel recharged?
Yes, absolutely.
But you just said you drained from people.
Absolutely. But it's that connection level.
Got you.
It's the conversation piece. So as I'm getting my cup filled back up, because I'm with somebody that I trust, I care, and I love, That same extrovert, they don't care. They just want to talk to anybody and everybody. So they're excited. So we both leave with our cups filled. So that next day, if I have a problem to tackle or I have a challenge to face, my teacup is full because I know where I want to give my time, energy, and attention to.
That is so sound. Garbage in, garbage out. Shout out to Zig Ziglar, great speaker. I'll tell you, if you listen to old Zig from Yazoo City, Mississippi, it takes a second to get over the accent, but I promise he won't make you any worse. And a lot of it is happy-go-lucky talk, but there are some tangible nuggets in there to apply. But he talks about in your mind, garbage in, garbage out. I actually heard a comedian in San Diego when I was there recently, and I was bombing an open mic. I don't know if you could bomb an open mic, but I definitely, boom, it was pretty bad. I got a lot of work to do in that area. But for those that went up there was a very funny comic. He came up there and he said that he was talking to a lady recently, and she said that she doesn't walk around San Diego because she feels as though she's going to be assaulted or hurt or something like that, right? By whomever. And he goes, "Oh, like what kind of podcasts do you listen to?" And she was like, "All of the true crime ones." And he was like, "Oh, well, shit." He was like, "When I walk around San Diego, because I like to watch a lot of cartoons, I'm afraid like an Acme apple is going to fall off of a fucking building, but I'm never really afraid of that." So again, this is not to promote ignorance or say that you shouldn't be aware or defend yourself or protect yourself, but I think if you're feeding your mind certain things, if you're feeding your mind negative, then you're going to think, like a lot of people often do about our homeland, that there's shootings every day, everywhere, and then you go back home on leave and you're like in a Walmart line, you're like, hey, everything's okay. Like, what's going on here? So it's kind of what you're feeding your mind, and how are you refilling that tea? And it sounds corny. People are like, oh my God, so now I got to sit around and read Mel Robbins books all day and just be doing yoga with Adrian, and then I'll be a better person. Is that what we're saying?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
It's more than that, and it's those things that are fulfilling. But oftentimes, and I like to touch on this because I introduced her as Coach Chan. I see that you do so many things or have done so many things and are doing things in the community, which we're going to plug some events that she has coming up. So you got a reason to hang on and listen, folks. But to be able to be that external service to others. And I read this quote last time, and I'll probably read it every episode because it's a good reiteration for myself and others. But we all want to be happy. We all want to be successful. And Dr. Viktor Frankl said, for success like happiness cannot be pursued. So it can't be just pursued all alone. It must ensue, and it only does so as the unintended side effect of one's personal dedication to a cause greater than oneself, or as the byproduct of one's surrender to a person other than oneself. What's the point there? True happiness and true success, you're not going to find it inside, but that's oftentimes where we go. Now, I understand to recharge and things like that, but I'll be happy when type talk, like fill in the fucking blank. I'll be happy when I get promoted. I'll be happy if I could just find a spouse, if I could just find and then it's funny because I got to quote Steve Harvey on this. He talked about, didn't you want a baby? Didn't you want that car? Didn't you want that job? And now you're complaining, right? But you asked for all this shit, right? And he says, you can't be mad that your plate is full when your whole goal was to eat.
Say it again for the people in the back.
You can't be mad and complain about your plate being full when your whole goal was to eat. 100%. And I think a lot of times, and in our culture, we're aspirational. We want to, conquer the world. We have that Scarface, Nas mentality, like the world is yours, you know what I'm saying? And you go after it, and that's great. But that true success, that true happiness is not going to come from pursuing. It's got to ensue. And like he said, it only does so as one's personal dedication, right? And that's for introverts as well. So I'm speaking to an introvert, a self-proclaimed card-carrying introvert right here, that's sitting over here telling me, yes, right on. Say it again for people in the back. How does this subject, this theme of going external apply, and how do you apply it?
Because we can't do things alone. Okay. Like you hit it earlier. You can't do things alone. As much as I like being alone, I know how to make my tea. I know what kind of tea I like. I know how much, sugar and honey I want to put into that. That tea by itself, just the tea leaves and the hot water. The tea doesn't make itself. I got to add external things into it. The hot water, the tea, the lemon. There's external factors I have to add, but it's a little bit. I'm not going to put a whole lemon inside my tea. I'm gonna put a little bit. That's for me. So being able to go external and realizing that there's certain things that you can add to your grandmother's tea recipe is totally fine.
Shout out to Grandma again, y'all.
Hey, Grandma, I love you. But there's certain things you can. Because we like to say, oh, introvert, I don't want to be bothered with anybody. That's not the case. It's just what fills our teacup and what we choose to fill our teacup with. I'm not the same person I was when I was 21 years old.
Why not?
I mean, backs, knees. Physically, I'm not.
I did smell some icy hot when you walked in here. I thought it was maybe a new perfume or cologne, but that's not Ude.
It's French. I say, get a little
Icy hot.
And it's important to understand that people still need to be recharged by other people.
Gotcha.
We still need other people. That's how we learn. Mm-hmm. I don't learn sitting in my own brain making up. I'm not Stephen Hawking. I don't make stuff up in my head and come out with this, amazing thing. I learn from other people, but I also learn from the observations. I could sit and just kick it with you, and over time, even when I withdraw, you say, "Hey, you good?" It's like, "Yeah, it's just a lot going on. Just a lot going on." And you're like, "All right, cool. Reach out if you need anything," and then leave it at that. But then you have some extroverts who really want to help or really want to do, and it's like, hey,
that's true.
Are you okay? What can I do? There's this, there's that. Are you feeling this? It's like a flow chart of and that's okay. But it's just understanding on what each person needs, and that's just it starts with that basic conversation.
Yeah, man, that's so funny you said that about extrovert, because I'm a car carrying extrovert, right? Who starts a podcast? You know what I'm saying? But man, shout out to Mrs. Cam, because I am constantly hey, are you okay? Hey, you okay? It's so bad I got a toddler in the house walking around going, you okay? And I'm like, man, because I'll fix it. I'll just ask you what's wrong, and you'll tell me what's wrong, and then we'll fix it, right? But I don't really listen with the intent to understand. I just, what do you need to fix it, right? I mean, a lot of us are guilty of that.
Absolutely.
But so are you saying that when you have that external contact, you said it with the friend, the big social, the hallmarky type scenarios drain you. But when you have that one-on-one connection with somebody, or I'm going to use a strong word, when you have that one-on-one impact,
absolutely,
what does that do for you?
So that lifts me up in more ways than one. And I will say this as a conversation because you and I are one and the same, but so different outside, and it works so well.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things. It's like I sit back and I think, I'm like, man, Cam is like, he's that person. Like, man, I could only dream to be in that communicative aspect. You'll say, hey, Dray did this. Oh, I didn't do that. Somebody else did that. Knowing damn well I did it. I just don't want the attention.
Right.
And because we've had that initial conversation, because we've talked, right? Many a times. We know, because sometimes, and it's not even just about social aspects. Things can happen in somebody's life, especially an introvert, that things happen, and the automatic thing to do is to shut down. What looks like to an extrovert shutting down, because now I retract all the way away, and I'm preserving my teacup. I'm preserving it because I don't want to pour time, energy, and attention into anything but myself right now.
So you, at that point, you can't be like, I'm going to go ahead and force it and white knuckle this and grit through it, and I'm going to pour into others. Okay. So y'all are hearing this. I'm asking these kind of rhetorical questions, and I'm not trying to be snarky, but I want to bring the emphasis that if you're listening to Dray right now, if you listen to Coach Chan and these things are resonating with you, she's a very, very good human who has somehow successfully made it to today, right? Shout out to you. We've survived all of our hardest days because we're here today, right? But in the same note, take heed to what she's saying. So if you are this person and it is out there affecting you, to pull away. And then for us who are extroverts, and this is I'm so glad you said this because it has influenced me, because I'll run up to you and find you and be like, hey, so everything okay? Hey, everything okay? Why'd you walk away?
Yeah. Like, you good? Is it me? Is it you?
Did I make you mad?
And as I'm trying to hold on to my teacup, not that it's anybody's fault, and things have grown over time, but people come up, they're like, hey, you good? And, tapping, shaking. Now I'm spilling my tea. Nobody wants to spill the tea because tea stains, so that's why they say don't spill the tea.
Yeah, kind of look like urine too, but anyway.
And now I'm getting bumped and pushed, and now I look down, my teacup is empty. And I'm trying to heal myself, but I have no place to get the tea because I don't want to go outside because I'm trying to protect myself. But I also can't go internal to fill my cup up.
So if you are those, and I think for extroverts too, take that time to fill up your tea. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
yeah, it's. I think a lot of people are guilty of not doing that and not taking that time. But ultimately, like we were alluding to earlier, and people will say, "Well, I got family, I got work, I got people I need to lead, and I got this job, and I got this plate full. I'm not complaining about it. I got to get it done, right?" But realize this too: if you're using that as a reason not to seek help, the you that you are giving them in all of the situations that you're in is not the best you that you can be. So, in a sense, are you not punishing them? And like you said earlier, are you bleeding on them because you're not operating at your full? And none of us will be at our full potential. I mean, that's obviously the goal of life, is to reach our full potential. But in those moment to moments when we're holding back, refilling, and we're operating with that half cup, is that hurting others or helping others?
To be honest, and this hits home. But how do you know if it helps or hurts if that's been the family business for so long?
Ooh, because that's what you know.
That's what you know.
And we'll look at that full circle, folks.
You know what I'm
Resilience,
saying?
real talk.
It's the family business. You've seen the business be ran this way for so long. This is the only thing you know. So how do I change that narrative? Like I think my father's a superhero. I don't know how he did half the things he did in his life, and I love and I appreciate that man for what he is, who he is, and what he's done. But it wasn't until I got older, and it was like 2 years ago older, that I realized what he did was set up from the family business. You just have to rise and grind. Rise and grind, rise and grind. I'm like, man, am I being a bitch because I don't want to rise and grind? I just want to sleep and, you know.
I gotta fill up my tea, Dad.
Like,
Dad, I have to fill up my tea.
I gotta go meditate. You know, I don't understand. Like, why am I not running the family business how everybody else running the family business? I don't understand. He just looked at me. He's like, one day you'll understand. Like he's some, like, you know, Aesop prophet or something. Like, can you just tell me why? Like, I'm confused right now. But I think that's
Papa Yoda.
yeah, you know what I mean? But I think that's where we lose sight because it's the family business. We don't want to change the family business. We don't want to leave the family business.
But what if we don't know that our family business ain't right?
Yeah. Because things can only be wrong if I feel that it's wrong. So when we say what does right look like? What does right look like? Right looks like what I've been exposed to all my life and what has worked. We look at right as what works. Hey, I grew up. Hey, I made it. Hey, I'm here. Hey, this worked. But if we don't take that full circle look, check in with ourselves, that same reaction, that same anger, like when somebody's like, oh man, you remind me of your dad, or you remind me of your mom. Because that's what we see. That's what society and our familiar values have so much impact on us. Because as much as we want to say, we want to get away from that. Oh, we don't like that. But unless we take the action to actually get away from that, we're no better than where we started.
So we can't keep continuing doing the same thing and expecting different results.
That's insanity, baby.
That's literally insanity. But we're all guilty of it.
Yeah.
How many damn times you done looked at the fridge over and over again?
Hope,
Ain't nothing in there but the same shit that was in there last time.
hoping there's a
But
snack
you
in there or
just
something.
did a pack of bologna show up. Like nothing else showed up in that fridge. But you keep on opening it, and ain't nothing there but some condiments. and I need to go to the store or go somewhere else. But we keep on repeating the same behavior of opening that fridge and looking into it. And that's vital. That's vital. And we only know what we know, and that's where it's good to be informed and try your best to grow and to acknowledge that, hey, maybe I don't got it all figured out. And that right there, we talk about confidence and cockiness and arrogance. You got to be a little humble with that.
Yeah.
You got to be a little humble to admit maybe I don't know everything and maybe I need to learn some more. And in saying that, people are like, well, what do I do? Do I watch some TLC? What do I do? Google how to be a good person. Like, what does one do to better understand themselves and to maybe understand that they're on the wrong path, besides seeing some really shitty results? Because I'm sure that's a telltale sign, right?
You know what I mean? Because everybody puts the pride in the struggle. You know, they're like, oh man, you know, the success and the struggle. Like, you don't have to struggle to be successful, nor do you have to just have inherent success. Like, what does success look like to you? But it goes back to just how you feel, what you do. Like, there's gonna be one day you just wake up and say, I don't know what I'm doing, but I know I need to do something different, and then start just changing what you're doing. You don't need to know like what resource there is. You don't need to know what avenue or what company can help. It's, hey man, I'm always broke on the 1st and the 15th. I don't like this. But then some people are like, well, I'm going to go invest in crypto because crypto's going up. You know what I mean? But I can just make small changes. Like, man, maybe I shouldn't get, a bag of snacks 3 times a day every day. Maybe I won't buy a pack of cigarettes on Thursdays. It's just small changes in your current situation that'll make your situation a little bit better.
That's key. You said that too, because it's small changes, and I love what you're alluding to in the fact in the habits. Y'all know I plug it a whole lot, but my man Kevin O'Hara out there in Spain, Ireland native, England native, he talks about that, the habits V2, and I'm not trying to plug his business or anything like that. I'm just saying a resource that's helped me. And what he talks about most often is how to be the best version of yourself, but that it starts with those day-to-day habits. I read something, I think it was in Grit or maybe Grit to Great, one of those books. Sorry if I say it wrong, but when a plane flies from San Francisco to the East Coast, just if you change the degrees a small amount, I don't know what it was very small though. What we look at is minimal of degrees, in the azimuth, if you will, of the direction in which that thing is flowing. Over time, and in going to the East Coast, that's the difference I think it describes in someone landing in New York or landing in D.C. That's a pretty big-ass difference in where you wanted to go that day, right? So that's how much of a difference that those day-to-day little things and how they can add up over time. And what I really want to get to is I see that you've had healthy outlets and you've had healthy habits, and you've talked about meditating. And we talked about before on the show about journaling to understand yourself. What are some of the things that Coach Chan does to fill her cup, like tangible things that I can apply? And I've seen you out there coaching children, and you have no children on any of these teams. What's that like?
Well, for me, it's something that brings me joy because I loved playing sports growing up. And the age group that I coach, it's that critical age, whether they're going to have a good relationship with sports or a negative relationship with sports.
What is that age group again?
7 to 9.
Okay.
So those 7 to 9-year-olds are important because some of them have never even played basketball, they never played soccer, they've never done any of that. And for somebody who I have played sports my entire life. I've coached for almost 20 years. I even played semi-pro football when I was in Cali. Like it's so much time, energy, and attention that goes into those kids. But to see them at the end of the season, like, oh, I want to play again. They might not know all the rules, they might not know all this stuff, but to see that they feel fulfilled, that they're working together, that same kid that's probably playing Fortnite, running up mom and daddy's credit card, wants to come out and spend time with people. It's not about the sport. It's about the connection you make on the court or on the field, and I love that.
But did you have to be Pat Summitt before you came out there? Shout out to Pat Summitt, one of the most legendary basketball coaches ever. If you don't know who she is, you should look her up. But she's basically the Dawn Staley of her day, right? But if we think about somebody like, did you have to be as credible as Pat Summitt to go out there and say, I'm a coach?
Absolutely not. Soccer, look, one, I don't like to run. Number one, when I saw how much running there was in soccer when I was younger, I was like, I don't want to do this. Don't want to do this. I enjoy being my little shooting guard. I run maybe 50 feet. I'm good. And I post up like a mailbox. That's all I do. When I coached soccer, I had no idea what I was doing. None. When we were dribbling, I had a good coach with me, and he's being technical about it, and I'm in the line with the kids too. Like, I don't know, kids, I don't know either. Let's just play. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know you dribble like this. I didn't know what a forward and I don't know, like a patriarch. I don't even know the names of the positions, but it was just fun being out there and having a good time. Yeah. I could bring the comedic relief. I could be goofy, and it allowed an opportunity for everybody just to have fun. And we forget to have fun. We're trying to be, like you said, perfectionists. We got to do this to get that. It was that hour in time where children can just be children, that they're not focused on what's happening in their school or their friends that they grew up with. Are they dead or alive when there's a school shooting, or when natural disasters come through, because now they're happening a mile a minute now. I don't have to worry about those things for that time.
So just like a healthy outlet,
absolutely,
a meaningful distraction, and it's helped. But I also know, because of the impact you have around here, one of the things you did was make everybody walk all night long, like it was like a Lionel Richie song or something. But that's Lionel, right? That's Lionel. Okay, yeah. But why would you do such things to other humans? Why would you make everybody walk for a whole day? Everybody, she did this. This is almost like Goggins-esque. Why would you make everybody walk all day long and then say I helped them. What is this? Are you some type of demented? What is going on?
I'm like the Forrest Gump right now. No,
I felt like walking.
I just felt like walking. Then I had a full following. What Cam's alluding to is April Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and that's important. And all these key components leading up to this month, and just anything in life are very important. But we did a walk last year, and I was glad to have the support system and the support team to help me do that. And it was nothing glamorous. We were on the track walking around in circles. I think I walked over 1,000 circles, which is just going around in circles. But what it symbolized was for that 24 hours, it was solidarity with individuals who have been victim or have known victims of sexual assault to establish that you are not alone. And that was important to kind of have a reflection period. You had people from all walks of life come out. We had games, and we just walked. And there were some times on track, it was just me and my boy, Rob, just on the track.
Shout out Rob. Rob, where you at, Rob?
I miss you, Rob.
We miss you, Rob.
And it was very, and you said, why do we make people walk? And I will say in the 1970s, 1960s-ish, there was a female walk movement. And that's where I got the idea from. It was an anti-rape movement in the 1960s to make it illegal, to make sexual assault illegal. And to put that in context, like, that was 1967.
It still wasn't fully illegal.
Yeah. Like, it was in the 1970s where it's like, okay, cool, sexual assault and rape is illegal. 1970s. And then we start looking at the DOD. The program didn't come in until 2005. 2005. And that's insane to think about. And in 1997 is when it became illegal, or it was recognized that males could be sexual assault victims.
Y'all heard that? That is so vital and to talking about ignorance. But we talk about hurt and carrying that hurt and bleeding on others. Hurt people. There are so many people that have been sexually assaulted or hurt in that way. And that right there, we talk about treating other people how you want to be treated. That pain goes on and on and on, and eventually impacts the relationships those people are in the future. Somebody touches them on the shoulder, they jerk because it takes them back to that. How common is it that people don't report things of that?
It is very common. I've done this. This will be my 11th year coming up in July. I've done this in the military, and I've done this in the civilian sector. Some people just want somebody to talk to, but they don't trust the process.
What do you mean by that? Trust the process.
Trust the leadership.
Okay.
Trust that it's going to be handled and taken care of with dignity and respect. And I have to ask myself, and I've asked myself over the years, and I've never voiced it, is if I was a sexual assault victim in this place, would I report? And as a victim advocate, I'm supposed to advocate for you to come to me, to report, to be on your side, to be on your team. And there's been some times where, and this is being candid, that I would tell them, don't report. Well, not don't report, but I would value what they're saying. Maybe a restricted option. Yeah. Until you feel you can get to a more comfortable place.
Or vet what they're saying to say, is there something here, right? And a lot of people don't understand that FAP started that recently. So obviously she's not telling anybody not to report if there's actually a case. Don't hear it wrong, folks. Don't soundbite Coach Chan here, right? She's a servant to the community and a victim advocate. But what she's saying is the vetting process. Some people come to the family advocacy program here in Iwakuni. You can go now. You have the unrestricted reporting option. You have the restricted reporting option. Everybody is supposed to know those so well, and it's posted everywhere to the point of nauseum sometimes, right? But that's what we got to do to try to educate and inform. But there's a third option, and there is an opportunity to where you can go to FAP or you can come to a victim advocate and you can describe this situation in a honest sense without fear of everybody getting involved, everybody getting in your business, and you can go to a Coach Chan or you can go over to Miss Ivy over at FAP or her team, and you can say, hey, this is the scenario. Is there something here? Because, we don't want to undermine and say, well, this is what's normal, but that doesn't mean it's right. But if you're not sure, that is another thing. And a lot of people stray away because, like, as soon as I walk up in there or as soon as I go talk to the UVA, it's on. Like, the dogs are all out, ATF's here, there's search helicopters, you know what I mean?
Guardian angels,
Like,
you know?
is that what happens?
No, absolutely not. And it's all victim, and I don't want to use that term victim. It's all survivor driven.
Ooh, survivor.
Because you made it. You made it to the other side, and I appreciate anybody who is strong enough and courageous enough to tell something so vulnerable that happened. But yeah, there's no. It goes at your pace. If you don't want to participate in law enforcement, cool. You only want certain people in the command profile, whatever, to know. That's fine. That's your prerogative. It's between you, me, and whoever, whatever deity that you believe in. And I think that gets forgotten about because, again, you see a lot of the news of what's happening, of, you know, sexual assaults, of rapes and things like that, and it just it puts a negative taste in people's mouths.
Yeah, it does. And speaking for the match, like, oh God, we got to talk about this again, right? But oftentimes, folks, we do, because there is a lot of ignorance with it. And also, it's not so much just the ignorance as far as being aware of what the problems are, but also being ignorant of the effects of the problems on others. And I would just encourage anyone out there who's been hurt or is questioning whether I have been hurt. I'm not trying to encourage everybody to run and tattletale on something that didn't occur or make anything up. I'm not trying to say that. But what I'm saying is, if it's questionable, it's kind of like with children, like, hey, should I do this? Hey, is this right? That's usually an indication that maybe it's not right. So maybe talk to one of these people who are more knowledgeable on the subject to vet this situation, to see, is there something here? Because here's the truth, folks. If not for you, how about for that next potential victim, and stopping that person that hurt you or that circumstance that hurt you? Because, you know, I'm not a prohibitionist. I've said this before. Prohibition led to NASCAR and a lot of gangster movies. So I'm not saying alcohol, let's ban it or anything like that. But what I am saying is that, I'm not saying causation, but there's a whole lot of people that sexually assault people or hurt people in that way or get hurt in that way that didn't plan on doing that. And how often was alcohol a contributing factor?
Most times. Absolutely. I remember somebody asked me why I wanted to be a victim advocate. I mean, people usually get asked that question. It's like a, you know, promotion panel board. You know, why do you want to do this? And everybody's answer is the same: to help victims or survivors, to help. And I felt ridiculous because that was not my answer. Like, I felt that was the answer.
So your answer was not,
I want to help people.
No.
and that's a good answer, right? It's a good answer to be wanting to help people. But what was your answer?
My answer was, I want to fix the system. Like, I want to stop this. It wasn't because if I'm doing victim advocacy, I'm responding. And that's
Ooh, so we're in react mode. Oh, so are you saying, like, be proactive? Hold up.
Yes. I know the P in SAPR stands for prevention, but I want to be proactive. I want to understand the why. I want to stop sexual assault, not respond to it. I do want to respond, yes. You know,
Of course we're going to do. That goes without saying.
but
Right?
it was just such an easy answer. It was an easy, because I want to help victims and survivors. Cool. That's not what I want to. That's not what I want to do. Like, I want to understand. Okay, rape. And we look at things, right? Like, hey, you know, rape, because that's a huge word. It's a huge 4-letter word.
That's a big word.
But then when we go back to the family business, right? How was the family business ran before? Because rape is just like all words come from some type of Latin descent. It means to seize. It means to take. It means to steal. That is what rape means. It's when you steal something from somebody or you take something from somebody. But in the 1800s, all the way into the 1970s, remember I said 1970s when this shit became illegal, women were considered property.
That's vital to understand where the language comes from. So in that time frame, women was property.
Yeah, property. So I can't rape somebody if I didn't steal it, because that was the premise of the word.
And what about with males? What if it's in there too with just the context of the language? Like, well, I'm not nobody's property, so I didn't get hurt. You think that stirs anything? I'm just trying to figure out.
And it does too.
Obviously, it's pride too and all that kind of stuff, but
But a lot of times too, because males could not be rape victims. You couldn't be sexual assault victims because you are a man. You're supposed to provide. Your job is to have sex. If you're not doing that, then there's something wrong. That was what the family business had originally started with in the 1800s, rolling into the women's anti-rape movement. And I started thinking about it. that anti-rape movement started in the late 1800s with good old what's her name, Miss Sojourner, Sojourner Truth. First real name Isabel. If y'all didn't know that, she led up that movement all the way into her death in late 1800s. But then I started thinking about my grandmother was born in the early 1900s. I'm old. My family started late, y'all. They wanted to get all their partying out. You know what I'm saying? So they did it right. But I was like, she grew up during that time.
Yeah.
Where, she was her husband's property. And that hurts. Even though my granddaddy was not, because, Miss Dot, make sure he's January stayed in line. But at that time, it was property. And as you start getting further and further and you start looking at, I love my country. I really do. I really do. When you start looking at the world and what it is, sometimes it kind of makes you step back. Like, how did this family business stay in business for so long?
Because that's what they were used to, right? Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday when we were walking. We were talking about something as simple as like genital mutilation, right? In some of the other countries with young ladies, right? But that's being circumcised in other cultures, right? And they're just like, there's nothing wrong with this. Actually, they feel like they're wrong if that doesn't happen to them because now they're not part of the group. So that group think and that what we're used to, that might be what you're used to, or that might be what's that word, normal?
Yep.
But does that mean that's what's right? Does that mean that's what's right? And hurt people, and the pain goes on. So if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude. And it sounded like Miss Isabel did, and it sounded like many other people did, stood up, stand up, and speak out. And I'm not trying to, pander here, but I've had very many people of various genders, but I will say predominantly female and women that have been hurt in that way. And I have seen the effects the toll that it takes on them. Like that person is still, you said it earlier, still and sees, and that act, that situation is over, but that person is still taken away from them. So for those that are still hurting or don't want to fully acknowledge, I mean, we know that in the short term, you can go restricted, unrestricted reporting route. But what about for the long term? Like to avoid that from affecting, have you seen people come out successful as survivors on the other side? Like we can't hide and deny our scars, but to where it doesn't bleed on?
And I have. And again, I'm trying to make this pointed or anything like that. But in the 11 years I've done this, I've had a lot of survivors come through. I've had some that, the situations kind of got the best of them and they're no longer with us. And I've had some that went on to have families, beautiful families, and they still have their daily struggles, but they went on to do really good things. And I think with passion is connection. If you have that connection to something, you can typically have that passion for that. And as a personal survivor of sexual assault, it's different because you still see yourself healing daily and continuously. And it's being able to go in full circle, check in with yourself. How are you feeling in certain situations? How things have changed and shaped you? Because when we have those emotional reactions, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent, it slightly changes the brain chemistry to where when you stop and you look, do you like yourself at this moment? Or is this all this protective armor that you put on in order to be able to go through day to day?
And that's what I was saying earlier about the white knuckling and not being the best version of ourselves. And it takes a toll on people. But I can see in what your example is, and it's just me being an outside observer, I'm saying this. I see that you've taken a mess that occurred with you. You've made it a message. You've taken a test, and you made it a testimony. And you're hoping to, like you said, prevent this, the overall of all of it, and be proactive. Because, I know we are so reactive. But then we'll always say we're ready at the same time. And it's like, are we? Are we really ready right now? And I don't know if we ever really are totally 100% always ready for things. But we can definitely be more ready or more best versions of ourselves. If that's totally not grammatically correct. I don't know. But we can get more better, can't we there, Coach Chan? But you said connect. are you saying that the community factor of it works?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because we might do a lot of things for ourselves, preservation, salvation, whatever the case may be, but we will never do it by ourselves. We might do a lot of things for ourselves, but in order for us to get to this point, we've had a tribe with us, whether we realize it or not. Whether it was through social media, whether it was through, YouTube, whatever that we are absorbing, whatever we are ingesting, whatever our medication happens to be. And that's important. Because when you take medication, you ingest it to feel better, to create solace, to create happiness, to create a feel good, to create something that defeats a disease. So sometimes what we battle in life are diseases. Not the diseases where it's, something that's going to affect, a doctor needing to make a diagnosis. But sometimes our friends and our people can be our doctors, our diagnosis team. Like, hey, something's wrong. Because sometimes that stress eats at you. That is a physical thing. So what are we ingesting in our body to make us that way?
No, it's true. But also on the same note, be careful with the F word, friend. Yes. Because those people could also be, they could also be the things that are diseasing up your life, for lack of a better expression, right? So be careful with who you call friend. And this is fact too, in certain cultures and certain marriages. You think about property, right? Mm-hmm. Marital rape is a real thing. Absolutely. And it's not rape. It's not rape because we married and you mine, right? What say you to that?
And that took a long time to get noticed as well. Because marital rape wasn't a thing because you're married. That is.
That's what married people do.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
It's kind of part of the sign-up deal, right? That occurs.
There's knocking boots that occurs, I'm saying back to the 90s, you know what I mean? There's knocking boots.
Shout out H-Town. H-Town, if you know, you know.
But at the same time, if I'm not willing to give you a part of me and you're not willing to honor my boundary because you're trying to push your needs onto me, then there's an issue. Like, just because we share a bank account, we share a house, and, we got 2 kids together, don't mean that you can just do what you do when you want to do with me. Absolutely not.
We all heard that. And that's treating people how you want to be treated. Absolutely. I mean, it would be so nice if we all just follow that golden rule. And I'll be honest, I'm guilty of not these things, but of not always treating people exactly the way I want to be treated because I'm a human and I'm imperfect and I mess up, right? But in these grandiose things, folks, stop. Forget that animal instinct, whatever it may be. Pull yourself out of the situation and realize that hurting someone else is going to hurt someone else. It's going to hurt someone else. It's going to hurt someone else. It's going to hurt someone else. But I'll argue not to advocate for any of the abusers or the aggressors in these situations, but oftentimes, and I've heard from them who have been accused of such things, that wasn't their intent, and they weren't aware that what they were doing, or they would never do that sober. Let me put it like that. Or I got a lot of friends that are on the sexual registry and stuff and on the dog watch list because they pissed in an alley while they was drunk. But that's indecent exposure, and now you on the registry. You know what I mean? Now nobody don't want to live next to you because they don't know what it is, but it was indecent exposure. You're like, oh, we can live next to them. But there's other people that would never in their right mind, just like with suicide, we talked about death by suicide, would never in their sober mind, no alcohol, no substances, want to hurt themselves. And there are also those who, in their right mind and sober, would never want to hurt someone else. So I say that and I stress it because before you put yourself in a situation where you make a permanent solution, which is this permanent act now occurred, whether it's death by suicide or hurting someone, because that's permanent, over some temporary circumstances, which might be getting a little out of your mind and being in a group that you probably shouldn't be associating with and not having control over yourself. What say you to that? Because I want to remind people that, man, so many situations, alcohol is such a plague. There are those sick people that are just sober doing these kind of things. And I hope we hunt them down and weed them out and they get identified. But there are those people that's their thing, right? But there's other people, and I would say a good number of them, well, what would you say is a good number of them that are probably not like this naturally, but because they're in this altered state of mind or state of circumstances, they now see this as an option, which it should never be an option. And I'm not trying to justify. I'm just trying to understand so we can better prevent these things.
And I'm so glad that you brought this up because we do a lot of victim focus, survivor focus, response focus. And now we're talking about the realm of why I joined or why I decided to do SAPR is for that prevention piece. You've got to understand that mind of that offender as well, alleged offender. And we talk about alcohol being a huge contributing factor, right? And we talked about going back into minute 10 of this podcast. Our emotions dictate a lot. Because there's sometimes, and if you've seen like CAT scans, MRIs, when somebody gets angry or upset, it's almost your brain does the exact same thing as if it was under the influence of a drug or a controlled substance or alcohol. Because you lose the ability to think rationally.
Think rationally.
You lose the ability to dissect a situation. So many times you hear, oh, I did that because I was drunk. Or I did that because I was high. Hey, man, I'm sorry, I was just pissed. But at what point do you take accountability for yourself and your actions? At what point, if you know your thoughts get enhanced when you're in this situation, or your thoughts get enhanced when you're on this substance, because we talked about drugs and ingestion, just like emotions, when we ingest a lot of things, absorb so many things from social media, our friends, the crew that we kick it with, we turn into that person that we don't want to be. Just like when we absorb alcohol, we could potentially turn into a person we don't want to be and then make a choice that we can no longer take back because that hurt has already been casted. I can fix something I've hurt, but it doesn't change the fact that I've hurt somebody.
It's very true. It's very true. It's very, very true. It does not change what has occurred. And you know, in our system, and for good reason, you are held fully to account for what you did. But I think there's a good amount of decent humans that do indecent things that may not have meant to do those things. And I, again, not at all trying to, for any of the offenders out there, justify or have offender advocacy or anything. But in order for us to avoid being an offender, think about what you are putting into your body and the circumstances you are putting yourself in. Because I've talked to a lot of oftentimes men, but there are some women as well, but people who have hurt people in these ways, and they're like, that ain't me, man. But you did it. And, you know, people wake up and they look next door and there's somebody dead next to them. And they don't even know, because in that enhanced state, I hate that shit too when people say that's your true self. No, it's not. That's your, like, over enhanced self. So if you happy, it's like, listen to this song, just listen to the fucking part, right? You're over enhanced in that way. Well, if you're happy, you're over enhanced. If you're sad, you're going to be over enhanced. If you are horny, you're probably over enhanced, right? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Meanwhile, also your judgment is foggy. And if you've already been dealing with a whole lot of shit going on in life, we just said you're absorbing all of that. What do we expect as the results of this outcome when we're dealing with a whole bunch of shit? Obviously, these things are throwing us off, changing our brain chemistry. We're in that, you know, anybody who knows the Oscar, the stress color codes, you're in that orange, that Texas Longhorn orange, burnt orange, into that red, right? You're into there. And if you stay in that funk and that muck for so long, your judgment is literally impaired to what you said earlier, rational decisions. Now let's throw a substance on that does the exact same shit, and let's expect to have a better day. Is that always the case?
No.
Hell no.
Absolutely the fuck not. And I think we try to shift and change this narrative in so many ways, like a fucking Rubik's Cube, and it doesn't fucking work. Like, just,
Ooh.
you know what I'm saying? Yes. Like, we're sitting here turning, twisting, and things like that. And I will make this a little easier for people to digest, because I feel like people are going to get upset when they hear this. Like, why are we taking the side of the fucking offender? Why are we trying to...
Not at all. Not at all.
I've had so many cases where I've sat in civilian court, military court, and to understand, because remember that drug in which we ingest to take this for this medication which we're trying to consume for this disease that we're exposed to. And it's hurtful, because when we see that, I remember having an individual who had watched so much TV, watched his family run their business, and thought that's how you treat a woman based off what he saw in his house. And I could tell the sincerity in that person, because I could tell he did not mean to do what he did. But it's unfortunate, because he hurt somebody. He tried to fix it, but he can't fix the hurt because of what he's seen on TV. Because we over-enhance sex. We over-enhance relationships. We over-enhance breakups. I've seen people mimic breakups as they were on The Bachelor.
Yeah, like down a TV show, right? Yeah, that's true. We do that. We do that.
But we don't, when we talk about the problem, we don't realize what we're doing because we used to have things that would censor certain things for children, adults, young teenagers to prepare their minds for what they see. Just because I listen to gangster rap on my way to work doesn't mean I want to rob a bank. And
I've never seen her do a drive-by here. I just haven't seen it, right? But there's songs about such things, is there not? There's rap music, these thugs, they go, it's the thuggish. Sorry, I just did the whole.
Like, I'm ready, I'm ready to slang dough and, get my bag on my way, my 7-minute drive to work in the morning. You know what I'm saying? But I know that I should not do that.
Right.
I know that.
Because you're rational.
Yes.
And you're reasonable.
Yes. But I also saw how my family business operated. But then when we take those things into account, it doesn't take away what happened. But it gives you kind of an insight as to how that family business was run. And seeing that individual say, I've seen so many shows where the man grabs the woman and it's that makeup sex. In his mind, that's what's supposed to happen. When we say it wasn't our intent, but we never ask ourselves the question of what was their intent.
Ooh, the victim, right? Yeah, and intent along with consent. What I mean, I know we're running our time right now, and I'm all about this because this is genuine and this is real and this is riffing on this subject. But that victim, and for the offender, consent, and for any of the offenders out there or someone who doesn't want to be accused of something, how can you reasonably say that someone's giving you consent if they too are in an altered state of mind? I'm not talking about stress and the day-to-day life thing, but if they are also highly intoxicated, highly inebriated, how can you ever really say that you got genuine consent? And I say that to protect, the victim as well as the potential offender from putting themselves in a situation that they don't want to be in, right?
Absolutely.
What say you about that? Because that can come up, and I'm sure it does. Like, how can you really say, can I sign a consent form? What are these people that are single and that are sexually active, and they're in that circumstance? Is there a right answer? Is there a better answer than others? What say you to that? Because you've seen these things up close and personal to prevent these things from occurring.
Have you heard that song? It was like in the early 2000s, I think it was. Shorty's a 10.
I think I heard
right
it.
there's a 10.
Oh yeah, that's
10, you know what I'm saying?
yeah. There's okay. Yeah, I'm thinking too about Tevin Campbell. Can you tell? That is you are stalking, sir. You didn't leave that person alone. You know what I'm saying? But so this one, Shorty's a 10. Tell me about this one.
And the reason why I bring that up is because we talk about flirtatious nature. And the dictionary, and I'm not trying to make this nerd, but the dictionary defines it as sexual acts to entice an individual. Sexual acts to entice somebody, right? So when I look at that, when you answer your question, because again, that's a real question that nobody thinks about. What if we're both intoxicated? And how do I get consent then? If you have to ask yourself that question, and you think about, Shorty's a 10 right now. Is Shorty going to be a 10 8 hours from now when you're all sober? Or is it because now your primal instinct is kicking in and now you're horny?
Now your animal instincts. Yeah. No, that's true. So again, if you have to question it, same thing as in was I hurt? Right. And I go to FAP or I go over to SAPR and I talk to the UVA, the SAPR program, of course, and I talk to a UVA, whatever level it is, and I vet this situation and I say, was this a problem? Usually if you have to ask twice, if you're a rational human, you've made it this far, there may be a problem there. So if I'm in that circumstance, I'm like, man, I'm tore up. This person's tore up. I really want this to go down. It seems like they want it to go down. Do I have consent? In that situation, what would you advise that person?
And that's where it gets a little bit more difficult. And I talk to my people all the time, like, hey, what are you guys going to do this weekend? I don't care if you're going to get faded and feeling X-rated. I don't care if you have that feeling of feeling X-rated. But if your intent is to be to that point of drunk or inebriated and start having predatory behavior, because this is where it gets to where it's questionable. If you start scanning the room of that next chick you're trying to bag, or that next dude, it's 2023, I'm not trying to dictate sexual preference. The next dude you're trying to bag, or the same way with that girl, the next dude she's trying to bag. Oh, I'm going to get him tonight. And now that flirtatious behavior becomes excessive. It becomes compulsory. Because, again, you're over-enhanced. So the movements and things that you're saying probably wouldn't be the things that you would normally say. Like if you wouldn't go up to Shorty, because Shorty might be a 10 and you might be a 3, but you think because you're over enhanced that you have a shot, and vice versa. Probably, I would err on the side of don't do it.
Err on the side of caution. Err on the side of caution, and kind of live to fight another day, or find it in a different way, or maybe at a different time. And I don't think all of these offenders are predatorial in the moment. Some of them, I feel like, and I've talked to people, they don't feel like I didn't seek out to do that, and I didn't even do that. Well, prove it. Prove that you didn't do that, right? And I know that goes along. Well, that was a false claim or whatever like that.
Right.
But as adults, as rational human beings, as people that are accountable to laws and regulations and procedures and hopefully treating people right, don't put yourself in that circumstance. If this is the trust works both ways. For the potential victims out there, you probably shouldn't be one-on-one with somebody you don't fully trust because you could get hurt. And it's the exact same way on the other side if they're the potential offender, because there's a lot of people that get accused, locked up, charged, put away, and they didn't do anything. They just couldn't prove they didn't do anything. And that's where we, full circle, be careful with that F word. Not for everybody nasty out there, I'm saying friend right now, okay? But be careful with who you surround yourself with, because are there situations, I'm not saying you've had to investigate these, but have you heard of situations where people have made false claims just to cancel or ruin somebody?
I have not. And personally, I have not dealt with, we've heard it in our trainings and our recertifications that it does happen. But it also happens based off of a lot of other contributing factors.
Okay.
That it may not have been initially consensual, becomes consensual, but now we don't check in. Like, and again, I'm not trying to tell anybody's how to do, the business in their bedroom. But sometimes that checking back in is, hey, that wasn't my intent to hurt you. But if you're not focused on your partner in that moment, things might have gotten a little out of hand where I wanted to stop, but I didn't want to ruin the moment for that person. But I also didn't want to make a situation, so I fawn. I retreat.
Right, because there's that fight, flight, freeze, and there's also this thing called fawning now, everyone. There's fight, flight, we always hear that. There's freeze, and now there's fawning. And fawning is essentially going along with the flow, people pleasing in that moment, because that's the protective measure. Please the person that's putting harm or making me feel uncomfortable, and then we'll get out of this situation. I just bring that up because I think everyone, all of us can do a better job at preventing these things from occurring all together. I think for any of the offenders out there, now the ones with ulterior garbage, predatory motives, hey, I hope we can catch all of them, and I hope that we're smart enough to see that coming, right? But for the victims, be smart about who you associate with. And if anyone out there never wants to be an offender or put themselves in a bad circumstance, be careful with who you associate with. But too often we put ourselves around people that we don't know that well, only know for a little bit, and we get totally wasted because it's Friday and because the calendar told me to, and now afterwards you accidentally hurt somebody, but accidents happen, but you're still accountable. You've hurt somebody. Somebody else gets hurt by somebody they thought was just cool or a friend, but they was taking those advances as something totally different. They were like, nah, we were just confiding in each other. I didn't know it was like that, right? Or the act goes down in this way, but they want to take it to this way. Know who you are messing with in all ways and shapes and forms. Don't put yourself in shitty circumstances. And I remember my pop used to always say that shit just don't happen. Like, shit just don't happen, like an affair or something like that. Like, it didn't just happen. You didn't have to go and then, have some coffee. You didn't have to then go to their house. You didn't have to then go to hang out for, you know what I mean? Like, these things don't just happen. Well, it just happened. Nothing just happens. We put ourselves in circumstances on all sides of this, So, and again, to what your point was, we are trying to end this and prevent this altogether, not just react to it. You know what I'm saying? And I hope that everyone could be smart and wise enough to stop those individuals who want to, their whole intent is to cause harm. Those are some disgusting humans, and I'm special place in hell for them in my mind, because you hurt people that hurt people that hurt people, and you are just a sick fuck. And that's just the God's honest truth. But I also think there's others that don't mean to hurt people, but hurt people because they're not in their right mind. So protect yourself, protect others, be there for each other, but be very careful with who you surround yourself with and who is in your tribe. Is there value in what I'm saying there?
Absolutely. I mean, the only thing I would change is because there's been so many narratives about how to protect yourself, how to prevent this from happening to you, right? Like I remember growing up and, hey, you know, women don't go out past midnight.
Yeah, I did kind of get after school special there. Please clean this up. Please clean this up. We said this is real, so please.
If you wear a skirt that, you know, it's above your mid thigh, you know, you're asking for this.
And that's bullshit.
And all the things, if you say this, if you do that, you're asking. I have yet to meet anybody, and I've traveled the world, that walked around with a sign that says, hey, please sexually assault me. Hey, please rape me. Nobody walks around with those signs. How I decide to make me feel comfortable, how I decide to wear and do and be where I want is on me. Like, it's not sexually suggesting for you to come do something to me. That should not be an invitation for anything.
Anything.
Yeah. Like, oh damn, look at Shorty. Look at what she wearing. Oh, she gonna get it. I know you've heard that. Oh, she gonna get it tonight.
Yeah, that's very aggressive. You know, like, that can evolve into potential assault. Be careful now. I know somebody's listening to this going, man, y'all corny as fuck. Y'all don't know what's really going on in the world. We're not trying to be corny. We're just trying to protect people from getting hurt and people from hurting people.
Like, it's just real people talking about real shit.
That's it. Like, that's it.
I mean, it's the same way. Like I've seen even some of my best like male friends, and they are gay individuals, and I remember them, which is funny to think about it on it now. I remember them being assaulted because they weren't straight. Like, well, if you're gay, I'm gonna turn you out. That don't make no damn sense to me. I'm still trying to figure this shit. You know, anatomy and physiology shit.
That's
just
where these people are sick fucks.
You know what I mean? But like, that's the prevention piece I'm looking at. It's like, just because you wear something, just because I want to, you know, walk, I wouldn't. But just because I want to walk down a dark alley, you know, at 2 a.m., that doesn't mean, okay, this alley is rape alley.
It's rape alley and you deserve to be raped because you walked down. You should have known better.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't, that's where I say, like, when we start putting, you know, realms and bars on things. But that goes back to our emotional intelligence piece. Like, know how you're feeling. This makes me feel uncomfortable. I don't know why this makes me feel uncomfortable, but I need to leave the situation because there's a lot of power in your presence. Because I know that you can be, you know, a strong, fast, you know, individual and can take advantage of me. Just like I've seen women who drug men because men will still get an arousal. And I've seen women rape men. I haven't seen it. That's weird, but because I should have, I would have stopped it. You know what I'm saying? But I've heard those things. Yes. And then to have a male report to that aspect, it's like, no. Because some dudes be like, man, you should just let her just ride, dog. Why you saying some shit?
That's true. That's fucking true. It's just the same thing when you got the sick teacher in school and everybody's like, the male teacher like, oh, you was messing with little girls. And then you hear about it with the 12-year-old boy, you like, damn, Roman, you got the, oh, snap, you hit the teacher. It's still fucking harming the child and sexually assaulting the child, is it not?
Yeah, but we're not putting the narratives together.
Nah, there's a double standard there.
So, and then that's what we need to get after. And I don't want to say need to get after like we're fucking Power Rangers or something, but it's something we need to assess and look at. But it's just real talk. It's like, I don't want anybody to feel like they can't do something, they can't wear something. I don't care if you wear fucking hoochie mama shorts and halter top. That does not mean and signify that you should be assaulted.
Exactly right. So for all those out there, hey, remember that. That just because it's something normal or in cultural, like, hey, you gonna get it. You better be careful because what are they going to get? What is the it in this sentence, ma'am, sir?
What is that?
What is that it? Because that can mean a lot of things, right? And here's another point too. I just want everybody to remember: everything's all good until it ain't. So just remember that. We want to prevent this altogether. That's the subject here, and we talked about the different sides of it, and we probably left 8 sides unchecked because we are only speaking from our experience and from what we understand and know. But at the going rate, be careful who you associate yourself with. Watch yourself, protect yourself. Seek consent and make sure that if something is going down, that everyone is good with what's going down. And if you're not sure of that, well, then you're not sure of that, and now you're putting yourself in a vulnerable territory as either the victim or the offender or what could presumably be a bad situation for all involved. And we just want to stop people from getting hurt in ways that they don't deserve to be. And nobody deserves to be treated like that. Like you said, nobody has ever walked around with a sign like, hey, hurt me. Yeah. Nobody. There's those kick me signs from time to time. I've seen them shits, right? Or I'm with stupid or something, and that's rude too.
Yeah.
But nobody's walking around with a shirt that says "rape me," right? And for anybody out there who's hearing this, like, well, they just be making shit up. Well, don't put yourself in situations, stupid. Don't put yourself in bad situations and then claim later on that now you're the victim, right? Because you put yourself in a situation. So consent, and I think we need to know each other better before we engage in certain activities. Potentially, I'm not saying we need to be married. I'm not saying any of that kind of stuff, but know who you are messing with and whatever it is, because those people are impacting your time, your energy, and your attention, and it might be the demise of you. So be careful with that. Check in with yourself, check in with others, be there. I just appreciate your time and being here. I really, really do, and I hope this makes a difference and helps someone. You know, we can hear these things a million fucking times, get briefed on like a power place, acronyms and shit. But hey, man, sometimes you hear somebody say something that just resonates with you. So we hope that we were able to do that with you. If not, you just listen to us ramble and shit. Yeah, hey, Coach Chan, I appreciate you. I thank you for everything you do. A plug for Iwakuni, April, what is it, 28th?
April 27th.
27th, April 27th. April 27th to 28th. If you want to show support to the cause, or just come out there and understand what the cause is, or understand where somebody else is coming from, walk around in circles together and figure it the fuck out. But show support and that solidarity that this shit cannot continue. And you know what? It could be your son, it could be your daughter, it could be your niece, your nephew that gets hurt in this way. Somebody you care about. Think about that, because that's somebody else's somebody. And we don't want to see people be hurt and be treated in ways that they don't deserve to be, and nobody deserves this kind of shit. So be there and take care of each other. Anything to close with, Mel?
Only thing I have is it doesn't have to matter to you for it to matter to you.
Oh.
It's the only thing I got. And let that resonate somehow, some way in your life as you're talking to people, but it doesn't have to matter to you for it to matter to you.
I love it. Hey, this has been Real Resilience Talk with Coach Chan. We went on a lot of directions, a lot of things today. Hope it can help. If you want to be a guest on this show, or if you want to contribute to the Real Talk and hopefully affect change, affect the culture at where we're at, because if you wait around in the system, don't hold your breath, because you might pass out while you're holding your breath. So be the change you want to see. That doesn't mean the system doesn't have great intentions, but they're not where you are every single day. So how can you make things better where you are? If you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude. Change your attitude. This too shall pass.